Business Focus with Kudzie, Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
Good morning and welcome to Business Focus. We discuss what is happening in the world of business every single morning right here on Capitalk with Kudzie, Sharara. Good morning, Kudzie. How are you?
Good morning, Tinashe. Good morning, Patson, and good morning, everyone.
You know, there's so much talk about Starlink and everything and piece up on social media all over.
Yeah.
But Starlink is new, Kudzie, and is expected to make a significant impact on the economy. So let's talk about it for a while. I hear it's sold out in Harare. What does this mean?
Yeah, I think what it basically means is that, you know, like when we were told that it's now live in Zimbabwe, you could actually just order online and you pay for it and then you wait for your delivery. But what was happening, I think, from yesterday is that when you try to purchase the kits, you are then told to pay a deposit, which means it seems like you're now sort of on a sort of like a waiting list for you to get your kits. Before that, you could just say, I want to buy, and you pay your full amount, and that's it. But now you are then said, pay a deposit. Like, you know, even before it came, people were paying deposits of over $9. But now it was saying pay a deposit of $50, which means that in Harare, I hear that in Harare, especially the CBD area, as well as surrounding areas like Yombare, if you try to buy, you are then asked to pay a deposit. So in a way, you could say it is maybe what they had budgeted for in terms of forecast demand, in terms of maybe Harare, is what is maybe sold out. And they now need to make a plan again to say, okay, how do we send more targeted for Harare? So it shows that there is increased demand, obviously. It shows that people were waiting for it. And you know, it's the conversation has been going on for more than a year. So people were waiting for it, and people were budgeting for it. The moment it comes, they buy. At
the same time, Kudzie, is it not the same as what happens when a newborn baby is born?
Exactly.
But
I wanted to say there is what we call in some terms euphoria, and there is also what we call fear of missing out, and then inonzi chiko
peer pressure as well.
Yeah, ndachida kuishandisa reshona pane temu
kudzadungwe
zvaitwa nevanhu, you know. But at the end of the day, I think that's what it is, and I think they will be able to resolve those issues. But if you want to order for outside Harare, for example, from what I was hearing from the experts that we are following, that are talking about it, if you want to order like for Chipinge, Muzarabani, Rimba, it's still fine. You can pay there and there. But pay a deposit, which means that you are not paying the full amount ipapo like what was happening just a few days ago.
Enlighten us, but social media has been going around Zimbabwe as well after Starlink.
In short. Yeah, yesterday already, you know, yesterday Potras issued a statement and talking about the license. You don't just give someone a license today and ban it tomorrow. But you know how it is Zimbabwe, and rumors and trying to create alarm and despondency.
Unnecessary, really.
Yeah. So that's Zimbabwe for you, which is unfortunate. Yeah.
And these Starlink kits, you can order them Wega.
Yes.
So someone is asking, are the Starlink kits paying duty? Is the 350 the landed cost at a customer's door?
Vanjanji vekuzimura ndo vanongonongotudza kuti zvakamira sei. But I know zvangu kana uchitenga utobhadhara 2% tax ya minister mtuli for electronic transactions. So paunotobhadhara
foreign payments
I'm not sure if it's you have to go if it's something that will be prioritized. If you go to your bank and say, I want to apply for foreign currency to import this particular product, yes, you can, but then you have to wait in a queue. Remember that it's not, the foreign currency is not readily available.
So I hope Starlink aizotirove kwese TV paper too.
No, it's a big company. What my fear though, might happen is, for example, the service providers, the local service providers that we have, if they fail to compete and they collapse, So it means we'll be relying on one player in that market. So we need to be very, very careful as an economy to make sure that we create a competitive environment even for the local players. Look, for MNOs, for example, they pay a license fee of 137 million. Is there a way of saying, okay, guys, 137 million is a lot for you to be able to then recover your cost through charges? So let's reduce it to a reasonable amount so that you don't have to factor it into your pricing of your services.
Okay.
Because can I but that 137 million in 20 years, that's roughly how much per year that you are just wanting, that goes towards the meeting the cost of acquiring that license. So if we reduce that, we also reduce the cost of doing business. Yeah.
Answer Kudzie, so does the poor service delivery fines also extend to the networks on which swipe machines work? I was heartbroken. I wanted to buy a suit yesterday for my graduation. The point of sale machine is not working. Hakuna way rima fine azo.
I think a point of sale machines also depend on the internet service providers. So that's panning about to that investigation. It down up. Was it because my banking system doing it down, or in network yema internet service providers and get it down?
Okay.
So yeah, those are things that will then have to be looked at to say what has caused this. Obviously the one who is operating the point of sale machine anenga ine reason and to complain now kuna service provider wake uti sha una network iri down ndunda kutoluza ma sales panapa, which means ndoma complaints anozonotariswa ne portals kuti your network yange iri down, yes, the fine and stuff like that. Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
7:45 is our time, Kudzie. Let's look at the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. I hear the bulls are back again. What's exactly happening?
Yeah, the boys are back in town.
Yeah.
In this case, it's the bulls that are back in town. Just looking at because yesterday we didn't talk about the markets. So just looking at what happened on Tuesday, the bulls were really rampaging. If you look at the all-share index up by 6.66%, and then you look at the top 10 index up by 8.86%. So you can see there the bulls are really were really raging on Tuesday. And then I thought maybe it was a one-day thing, but again we see the same rally. Yesterday it was even another 6.5% gain on the all-share index and another 8.49% gain on the top 10 index. And then you have the top risers were BAT up 15%, First Mutual Life up 15%, Citco up 15%, ART up 14.71%, and then First Mutual Property up 14.43%. So these are the top stocks that helped the market close positive. Of course, there were some losers, like EcoCash being the biggest loser with a 14.09% drop. OK Zimbabwe down 11.74%, Wheeldale easing 9.09%, Mikus 5.16% in the negative, and TSL shedding 4.5%. Also looking at the money that is going into the market, yesterday about 22 million ZIG going into Econet, about 1.5 million going into Delta, Hippo Valley getting about 500,000 ZIG, and so on and so forth. And so I think the reason why the bulls are back in town is also because of the fall of the ZIG, the depreciation of the ZIG on both the interbank market as well as on the pearl market. On the interbank market, I think it's at its lowest since it started. Remember, yesterday we were talking about 13.94, 13.95. Remember, it started at 13.56, and it was up and down most of the time. But it went for a 7 to 9 day losing streak on the interbank market, and on the pearl market, I'm hearing rates above 24. Those are the rates that are being quoted by street dealers. Those are the rates that some businesses are using in their markets. Some are using as high as 30 in the selling of goods and services. So forward pricing is back in town, where businesses are saying, okay, for me to guard against losing, against currency depreciation, I'll try and price my products in anticipation that by the time I receive my money and by the time I'm able to restock, the rate would have moved. So they will do what is known as forward pricing, and these are some of the things that were happening before we had a change of leadership at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe before Dr. John Mshayawanu replaced Dr. John Mangudya. So these are the things that are now happening again.
So forward pricing iri pamutemo here Kudzie.
Una zvakadai.
Are you saying haisi pamutemo?
Well, haisi pamutemo. It's a practice that some businesses use to protect themselves. It's a practice that some businesses use just for greedy. Ndosaka kuine kana chitora ma-inflation kune imwe inozonzi greed inflation. It's a term rakangocoinwa kugadzirwa rekunzi maprice ari kukwira because of greed. So kune greed inflation. So if you I'm not saying ndoiriko, but if you ask the governor, he has said what is happening is greed inflation, right?
With what you've just said, is it history repeating itself?
I would say so, because these are the things that were happening prior to Zeke coming in, and these are the things that the current governor said will not happen under his watch. Yes, we can say not much is happening in terms of trading on the power market. Anza hakuna mari inombotengeswa is less than 5% of the market. In terms of foreign currency that is changing hands at these parallel market exchange rates, there isn't much that is happening there. However, the prices for most products, and not only, even in informal shops, the prices are crazy at the moment. So inflation is rampaging again, is rampant again, and these are the things that we expect the current Reserve Bank governor to deal with, because the mandate of the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is to make sure that there is exchange rate stability, price stability. It doesn't matter where this instability is coming from. The Reserve Bank is expected to deal with that. It has got the financial intelligence unit to help them with that. It needs to find the root cause. The root cause of this instability and deal with it through monetary policy instruments or through legal means, through the FIU. They have to come in and deal with that, so that as consumers we do not face price increases. It should not happen under the current governor's watch.
Yeah, just 9 minutes to go. We've got a couple of things to talk about. Just briefly to close off on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. Somebody is asking, why is the share price of First Capital Bank suddenly rising sharply like that?
I don't know, maybe investors are seeing value in it. They recently released their results, by the way, which were really strong for the period under review, for the half year to June. They released their results. They are listed on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, and it looked like they are doing well. So some investors might have decided to go in and buy into those into that performance, that good performance. So you can't really then say what exactly is happening. You need to dig deeper, find who is buying and stuff like that. But on the look of it, just looking at this is a company that recently released its results. So you need to go to the listener, you need to go and look at those results maybe there and see how good were they. And probably some investors are saying, no, there is actually value in this counter. And it seems like there's a future. Just this morning, as I was just going through on LinkedIn, one analyst, Sylvester Mpanduki, was actually highlighting that the bank let go about 8 senior managers in their, I think is it corporate banking? Or I think it's corporate banking. So it's restructuring that is happening there. Maybe someone is saying, oh, wow, if all these managers are let go, it might mean they are cutting down on costs. The cost to income ratio might go down, and maybe that's a metric that they like, and they decide to invest. So there are many reasons why it could be running like that.
Right, Kudzie, zvakangotaurika tikambonzi but todonyadzonzwisa kuti zvapapi. What's the latest with Unilever?
Unilever, remember when that story came out, it was some journalist that had got hold of a memo, an internal memo, where the company was telling its employees that it was closing shop in Zimbabwe and will now be operating in Zimbabwe through distribution of products, no longer producing or manufacturing locally, but producing elsewhere and distributing in Zimbabwe. So they are in the paper, in the Herald this morning, where they are talking about their route to market in Zimbabwe, where they are saying it's a model review and tender process, where they are calling on interested parties to come and be to participate in this tender, so that they will be able to distribute Unilever products on a non-exclusive basis for the next 3 years. So they are asking for those who want to be their distributors in Zimbabwe. So it's an opportunity for all to put your bids there and be the distributor of these products. Mongo manyanacho. Mune history ku distributor neku market ama products. So yeah, that's basically, so it's official that they want to they've reviewed their model in Zimbabwe, and they are calling for those who want to be distributing their products to come forward and make proposals. Yeah. So if you buy the Herald of today, you'll be able to see more information with regards to what chavari kuda with regards being a distributor. So yeah, it will be interesting where this goes. This deal goes.
Marsh Holdings released their results today.
Yes, and Marsh Holdings is in the property sector. So when these listed, that's the beauty of listed companies. When they release their results, they get us to see what is happening in that particular sector. So Marsh Holdings is one of those companies that owns quite a significant number of properties in the Harare CBD. They own quite a number of properties, but they've also been diversifying and going into other areas, following not follow the money. We are seeing developments that areas outside the CBD, and they are also doing the same, following the money. As we speak, they are actually in the process of constructing Yamanoti Pomona Commercial Center, which is already 65% completion, 65% completion of that project, and it is set to be finished or completed by the fourth quarter of the year. This is the commercial property where they are saying that the concept consists of a wholesaling and flexible warehousing with about 14,000 square meters of lettable space. They already have an anchor tenant and have secured 60% of tenants for that particular development. So you can see demand that is there. I said already 60% of lettable space. And others obviously will come. By the time it is finished, others will also come in. So that's an interesting development, and we are seeing that quite a lot in Zimbabwe. And then they are also into the investment space in terms of investment property. And they are telling us that their assets have been growing. They've invested about put about $4.2 million into these development projects. So they are seeing value going forward, and they are willing to invest their money into that. And then looking at the performance of current properties, they are saying that their revenue increased by 15% from $3.1 million to $3.6 million, and the bulk of that money is coming from rental income, which contributed about $2.3 million. In fact, it contributed $2.7 million, up from $2.3 million. So they reported a 400,000 growth in their rental income there. And they're also saying that the group completed and handed over the Marshview Gardens cluster housing development. So we've been talking about cluster houses, and they are also into that game. They are also playing into that space, and they've already completed those Marshview Gardens cluster housing development, and they earned $552,000 in revenue from the project, thereby contributing to the revenue performance of the half-year period. So this is Marsh Holdings, which is into the property sector, and it seems profitability, revenue growth, occupants, new projects, all is going well for Marshall Island Holdings. So go and look for those results. They are also in the Herald this morning. You can go and look for those results, analyze them, and see if it's an area that you might also want to invest in, because it is listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange.
Right. Just 2 minutes or under 2 minutes for us to wrap it off. But someone is asking about how prevalent is the environmental social governance ESG reporting in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, it's something that is actually it's now mandatory for Zimbabwe Stock Exchange listed companies to do what is called sustainability reporting, but then it encompasses the issues that you have spoken about, environment, social and governance. What they're basically saying to say, yes, you're operating as a business, yes, you are there to make profit. However, we want to see the impact that you are having on the environment, on governance issues, and also on social issues. So it's something that when companies bring out their annual reports, they should tell us kuti isusu operate takadai in terms of gas emissions, zvakamira zvakadai, in terms of helping the social aspect. This is what we are doing as a company. And in fact, as we speak, Tinashe, one company that has just released also their sustainability report is EcoCash Holdings, which is listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. And from that, you can actually see they're telling you, for example, vanobva vatokudza kuti isusu through my projects edu tine 51,000 students that are on this platform yavanonzi Akelo. We've got 51,000 students that are there. So you can see the social impact of this particular product. They can tell you that they've delivered about 90 tons of fresh fruits through one of their products as well. So they're actually telling you what they are doing. They are saying that they have contract farming where they can offer tillage, and they're saying they've done 65 hectares, and they've 4 million bulk SMEs distributed to farmers in partnership with NGOs. So this is the impact, the social impact of this.
All right. Yeah. All right, Kudzie, let's hold the horse for the day today. We'll discuss more tomorrow. Time for the news at 8.
Business Focus with Kudzie Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.